So what's up, people, and welcome to part 3 of our discussion on the upcoming movie Alita Battle Angel and how some of the information that has already been disclosed can be compared to the preceding comics as well as the animation OVA. And as mentioned, this is a discussion part 3, and so there is a part 2 and part 1, and if you haven't seen it, then I would suggest that you watch that, because part 3 will be in response to some of the comments that came back during part 2 and part 1. And so I will leave a link to both of the earlier parts in the description part of the video, and I would suggest that if you haven't looked at it, to please do so. Now, before we begin, I would like to make the usual disclaimer with regards to the spoiler alerts. Now, since this is a discussion with regards to what we may predict will be coming out in the movie, based upon the information that we have heard, as well as how it compares to the manga comic and the anime OVA, this video will probably be quite spoiler rich, and because of that, if you have not read the manga and or have watched the video or the anime, I should say, then I would suggest that you turn off this video, because you may be spoiled with regards to the movie. Now, for everyone who has read the manga, especially to the end of the Last Order series, and or have watched the anime, I would appreciate any input that you may have with regards to the predictions with this upcoming movie. There has been some very interesting information that has come out, and there has been some very good discussions in the previous part 2 and part 1 of the videos that I made, that I am very grateful to all the people who have provided comments. And the reason I am making part 3 is because of all the very informative comments that I have received in the last part. And so, although I said at the end of the last part that I will be making a special of comparing Alita Battle, or I should say Battle Angel Alita, to Tokyo Ghoul, and how the two comic series have some commonality between them, I decided to make this video instead, just because of the fact that I wanted to thank all the people who contributed to the comments in the last video, as well as to discuss some of the points that has come up due to the comments that have been provided. So, thank you very much, Barry Ben, Crimson Rose, Richard Parker, Brian Cairns, Scott Browning, D. Elliott, and Waffle After Hours. Your comments were very much appreciated. I apologize if I mispronounced anybody. I also apologize if I left anybody out. But I really do appreciate all the comments and all the information that you have provided, especially with regards to some of the clarifications in some of the comments that I have made from the previous parts of the video. So anyway, one of the topics that many of you provided comments to that clarified a lot of the things I talked about in my last video with regards to Gelda. And I thank you very much for the comments, because I think all of you are correct in that my feelings regarding Gelda being a motorball player and meeting with Alita may be wrong. Where I got that information was from Wikipedia, and that was the first place I went to once I heard about this upcoming movie. And there, for a while, I don't know if it's still there, but the casting was shown as Gelda being a motorball player, and that just stuck to me. And then when I heard about this thing further, it just didn't make any sense. But if Gelda is not coming out as a motorball player, but is coming out as the Master Kunstler mercenary that she is in the comics, then this may all make sense, because of the fact that there will be no reason to have a crossing of paths between the current Alita and Gelda. It may be that Gelda will be shown in kind of a flashback scene in the movie, whether that will be an opening part to show the mercenary parts, such as the one that Richard Parker suggested, that maybe it will be something like the Mars attacking the space elevator, or it would be something as we already seen in the Last Order comic, where Gelda, of course, rescues little Yoko and little Erica from the minefields. Either way, whether it's the opening scene or whether it's a flashback from a memory that Alita just happens to have, that will make a lot more sense than Gelda coming in as a motorball player and then meeting up with Alita, which just didn't make any sense to me. So yeah, thank you very much for everyone, because I think every one of you are correct, and I apologize for any misunderstanding that came up due to my feeling that Gelda was going to be a motorball player, which just made absolutely no sense and made me rage, or I guess vent about some of the feelings that I had. Now, if Gelda is going to be associated with motorball, as per Wikipedia, the one that Barry Bend suggested may be an interesting idea. If you recall, during the final battle between Alita and Joshigun, Alita has kind of a out-of-body experience where she gets some advice from a monk. Now, that monk is some character that we've never ever seen again in the rest of the comic series, but it's supposed to be some sort of wise sage that provides enough inspiration to Alita to be able to overcome the battle with Joshigun. Now, if this monk was just some random character, that would be interesting, but of course it may be able to be replaced by Gelda. And Gelda could be the wise sage that, of course, provides some advice to Alita to be able to overcome her adversary. Yeah, of course, since Gelda is associated with young Alita and is probably a mentor for young Alita, then that will make perfect sense that maybe some of the things that she said in the past just happens to work and fit in well with the inspiration lectures that she needs to be able to overcome Joshigun. So that might be an interesting thing. I don't know whether that would come out in the movie or not, but regardless of whether or not it comes out, I thought that that was a very interesting topic, or a suggestion, I should say. Now, with regards to the melding of Vector and Destinova, at least the hacking of Vector by Destinova, Crimson Rose came up with a comment that I thought was really a good comment. One of the problems that occurs right now between the comic and the anime is the difference in characteristics of Vector. As you know, if you have seen both the anime as well as read the comic, Vector is far more crueler in the anime than he is in the comic. And the problem that Robert Rodriguez will have is, of course, how do you make sure that you can please both the comic audience as well as the anime audience when you have two different characteristics for Vector? If you make him like the comic and make him softer, the anime audience may wonder, why is this character a major antagonist in the anime just brought out to be a much more softer character? It's just not faithful to the story. And of course, if you make him cruel the way he is in the anime, then the question will come up by the comic readers, why is he this cruel? Richard Rodriguez is not faithful to the story again. So he's in a dilemma of not being able to please both of the groups if he was to make Vector either too cruel or too kind. I guess not really too kind, but at least a little bit more reasonable as he was in the comic. And so maybe Destinova provides a solution for that by having Destinova hack into Vector and bringing out the cruel side, he could give Vector both personalities, the personality that came out in the OVA, as well as the personality that came out in the comic. And if that's the case, I think that's brilliant. I think that would be amazing because of the fact that by doing so, first of all, it gives some reason for Vector to be the way he was when he had his relationship with Chiron. But, and that's from the OVA, and that's the cruel Vector. But at the same time, it gives the ability for vector to be able to get to the more reasonable vector that you see for the rest of the comic. And yeah, I mean, if that's the case, it solves two dilemmas. It solves the dilemma of how do you associate a kinder vector to Chirin's situation, which a cruel vector is necessary, but then how do you also then associate a kinder vector to the rest of the story that may eventually come up? And the other thing is of course, this will resolve the problem of trying to please both the anime audience as well as the manga audience by bringing out the vector that is associated with both the anime as well as the manga. So yeah, I mean, I hope that is the reason why vector is being hacked in by Destinova, at least from the the movie directing point of view, is so that they could bring out a vector characteristic that's close to the OVA as well as the comic, and by doing so, pleasing the entire audience. Now, this does bring up an interesting point, which of course is the non-mainstream nature of the actual story itself. Battle Angel Alita. I mean, many of us who read the manga and watched the video knows and enjoys the fact that this story is not a standard mainstream stereotypical shonen sort of story. Right? This isn't Dragon Ball Z or Naruto or One Piece or whatever, where, it's some character who through various levels up and then saves the entire world with their wonderful superpowers. That's not Battle Angel Alita. And in fact, that's why I think we all enjoy Battle Angel Alita. I mean, I did enjoy Naruto, at least in the beginning. Yeah, I do enjoy One Piece, but the whole reason why I like Battle Angel Alita is because of the fact that it is a non-mainstream storyline. And the question that will be interesting is, will the movie be able to please a large mainstream audience while at the same time being faithful to a storyline that is not truly mainstream? It will be interesting to see if a mainstream audience will be able to embrace the story of Battle Angel Alita, or I guess Alita Battle Angel. And in that sense, I am glad that it is Robert Rodriguez who is directing this movie, because of the fact that Robert Rodriguez himself is not a mainstream style director. I mean, Sin City is not particularly a mainstream stereotypical story, neither is El Mariachi, Grindhouse, or Machete. And so, yeah, I mean, he does have a unique vision in many of the movies he makes, and that may be perfectly in line with the non-stereotypical, non-mainstream sort of storyline that Alita Battle Angel is. And so, yeah, I'm still looking forward very much to the movie. I mean, I did like the trailer a lot. It did seem to get a lot of the people in the mainstream unhinged just because of her eyes, but I think that that's perfectly fine. So long as the mood is there, so long as the character development is there, so long as he doesn't screw up with the major storyline, then I think I will be okay with it. In any case, I'll try to make that other video, the special video where I try to bring in the similarity between Alita Battle Angel and Tokyo Ghoul in the near future, but I hope you continue to comment, and if we have any reason to have any more videos, then I'll be sure to make some more with regards to Alita Battle Angel. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching this video. I will continue to make more videos on comics, animations, and movies. I have no idea what the topics will be in the future, but if I do make them and you watch, then I will thank you again at that time. So until the next time, I wish you all the best. Happy anime reading, or anime watching, I should say, manga reading and comic reading. And as always, Jaya, nice day, everyone.